My last review featured a lyric about Taylor Swift. It is now time to talk about Taylor Swift. Reputation. Big buzz about this album. We all know Taylor Swift. We've all heard her music at some point. To kind of contextualize things, she started off as a country artist, but then kind of made the shift towards mainstream pop on 1988, an album which I wasn't hugely a fan of, but I kind of understand the appeal. However, Reputation had a bit of controversy surrounding it, from rumors that she was kind of targeting Kanye West with it. Some people say at least she's self-aware about it, at least she's kind of embracing the controversy that's been surrounding her for the past year or so. And then other people might find the focus on drama and her reputation in the public eye a lot more annoying and tedious. I tried to be as open-minded towards this new album as I possibly could. It is easily her boldest album yet, and although, you know, some people might say it's her most experimental, you can certainly pick that up from the production, but I don't think it's like entirely experimental. There are some moments that are very abrasive and kind of booming. The production on this thing is very inconsistent and kind of varies from some very pummeling, abrasive production that some might liken to a Kanye album like Yeezus. Some people say that this album is trying to be Taylor Swift's Yeezus, which makes some sense, but not really that much sense. Some tracks try to go towards this classic synth pop vibe from the 80s, which I think like make up some of the more endearing parts of the record. I think they're the ones that sound the nicest. And others try to be a little more hip-hop-ish, like on Endgame, where she's actually rapping along with Ed Sheeran and Future. Woo! A lot of the album is trap influenced too, so you'll hear a lot of trap percussion. I always thought that Look What You Made Me Do sounded like Discount Lord, with the pre-chorus sounding very dark and mysterious, something that you may have found on Melodrama, but the hook definitely sounds like a Right Said Fred thing, but the thing just drops and falls so flat on the hook. All energy and all that atmosphere just kind of crumbles.
Ooh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Look what you just made me do. Look what you just made me do.
Then you have the really obnoxious vocals on Endgame, like during the chorus. Any point on this album, she's trying to do at least like some kind of a Kanye stab or an impression. This is it. And nah. And some of these tracks do sound okay during like maybe the choruses, like Ready For It, or This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. King of My Heart too. You know, obviously we have the lyrics of those tracks, but also just like in between those moments, they sound really bad. Between the choruses, the instrumentals just sound like, they sound so obnoxiously booming and cutting and sharp, and they just don't sound pleasant to the ears on like a pop song. Now when it comes to what Taylor Swift is trying to do on this album, she's trying to portray herself as maybe this super villainous bad girl. She certainly does it on a lot of tracks where she's talking about being the bad girl. That's her reputation now. All over this album, she talks about her reputation. All over this album, she talks about being the bad girl and making mistakes. And this wouldn't be a problem if she just tried to be a little more creative with it. All over the album, that's all she does. She always retreads the same subject matter. And, you know, there are artists that have done this before. There are artists that have tried to pick apart the persona in the public eye, from Kanye West to Father John Misty. But what Taylor Swift does is just kind of take the same subject matter and run with it all over and over again, retreading the same ground. However, the whole super villainous thing, I wouldn't have minded this so much if she had just gone all out with it, if she had just gone crazy with it, just become outlandish. That would have been like entertaining at the very least, but she doesn't do this. She kind of tries to compromise a little bit and tries to present at least like a sympathetic vulnerability to this side of her persona, which doesn't go down all that well, because all potential is pretty much gone, considering not only the singles released beforehand, but also the attitude she had with the first couple of tracks. Yeah, you have tracks like Getaway Car and King of My Heart, and the very stripped down piano ballad at the end, New Year's Day, which tries to show a bit of a human side, and tries to show like a love-struck side, which actually, you know, there are some pretty questionable eye-raising moments on this album. I know that Taylor Swift has never been the best lyricist out there, but still, what's this about living with all your cats again? What's that? What's that? This album tries to put on that mystique of irony and self-awareness from an artist as prominent and as mainstream buzzed as Taylor Swift. However, it just falls so short of the mark, musically and lyrically. So much of the time the production's falling flat, and so much of the time the lyrics and the persona she's trying to put forward falls flat. Not that I expected anything huge coming out of this Taylor Swift album, but it was kind of intriguing. I checked it out, I wasn't really that impressed. There we go. You know, what are you gonna do? 3 out of 10.